What up everyone, it is Toshi and today we are going to be talking about Demon Slayer Volume 14. So I just finished this and it was pretty good and I had quite a lot to say. So obviously, firstly, we finished off Volume 13 with Tanjiro about to cut off Han Tengu's head, and we see in the beginning of Volume 14 that doesn't actually work, and we also see at the beginning of this volume that the four different demons that Han Tengu had sort of divided himself into, the demon of anger, I believe, absorbs three of them and then transforms into the demon of hatred, which is basically this child that is an amalgamation of all of them, and he has this sort of really cool design. He has this sort of giant structure around him. I'll put a picture of it up on screen because it's very difficult to describe, but yeah, you see what I mean. And to cut a long story sort of short, because not really much happened in this scene, Tanjiro and Genya and Nezuko did their best to sort of fight this new demon, but I'm not gonna lie, they didn't really stand a chance. It didn't really take Han Tengu a lot of effort to sort of defeat them, more or less. So, and then we cut to the fight scene with Muichiro, who is fighting Gyoko, and this fight scene was great. I'll be putting some pictures up on the screen, obviously, because quite a lot happened in this fight, and A, I have a lot to say about it, and B, I just really enjoyed reading it, so strap in, I guess. So obviously we start off with Muichiro is trapped in that water vase, and Gyoko sort of breaks into the hut where Haganazuka is working on the katana. I believe it was Tanjiro's katana, but I could be wrong. But yeah, I believe Haganazuka was working on Tanjiro's blade. And then, Gyoko breaks into the hut and Haganazuka doesn't even notice. Like, Gyoko is even attacking Kanamori, but Haganazuka does not notice at all. And Gyoko even states, his concentration is insane, and like, as an artist, he puts me to shame. And this sort of infuriates Gyoko, and Gyoko wants to kill Haganazuka because his concentration is just, it's tormented him. He's like, he's a mere human, he could literally die at any second, I could kill him right here and right now, but he's not even noticing me, he's just focusing on this sword. Like, I'm literally about to kill him and his friends, but he's just ignoring me, he's too busy working on the sword, and it infuriates him, especially because, like I said, Gyoko was an artist, and Gyoko even stated that as an artist, Haganazuka sort of put him to shame. So Gyoko wants to kill him, but he states that he would rather he wants to try and break his concentration instead. He wants to see if he can sort of make him stop working on the sword. And in this scene as well, we see Muichiro is sort of accepting death. He sort of states that with the amount of water in my lungs right now and, the amount of breaths I have left, he tries to break out of the bubble, but he can't. But then Kotetsu appears and Kotetsu sort of helps him break out of the bubble, but Muichiro does use a technique. It was misbreathing too. I can't remember the name, but I'll put a picture up on the screen. So yeah, Muichiro breaks out of the vase. We also see him have a flashback, like, Kotetsu sort of appears as Tanjiro for a second, I believe, or maybe he was just hallucinating. I don't really know, it wasn't really stated properly. But we see Muichiro has a flashback of his childhood, and he states that his mother got pneumonia and she died from a very bad cold. His father died whilst out in a storm on a cliff looking for herbs to sort of try and help his mother, and he had a twin, but his twin Yurichiro was a dick. He was mistreating Muichiro, he was insulting him, emasculating him, abusing him, stuff like that. He wasn't a very nice person, and yeah, he was just a very shitty person. He was very much a bad mouth. He used to insult Muichiro a lot. He said that, the mu in Muichiro is like mu as in like a big dumb cow. We later find out that the mu in Muichiro is actually Mugen, which is infinity, because Muichiro has the power to tap into an infinite power source to protect the ones that he cares about, which I think is pretty cool. And we see that, when he was a child, during the summer months when it was very hot, him and his brother fell asleep in a house and they left the door open, and a demon came in. The demon killed his older brother Yurichiro, and Muichiro, he says that he doesn't really know what happened. He just screamed and blacked out, and the next thing he knew, the demon lay dying and the demon was dead. His skull was crushed. But the demon couldn't actually die even with a crushed skull, so Muichiro said that he waited for the sun to rise, and obviously that killed the demon. He went back to his brother who lay dying, and his brother sort of said that, dear gods, dear the Buddha, like, kill me, take me, don't kill my little brother, he's a good person, he wants to help people. I always held him back, I tried to stop him, I deserve to die, I'm the bad guy, not him, please let him live, etc, etc. And he dies. Moichiro also lays dying, you know, he states that he watched maggots crawl over his brother's dead body, and maggots even entered his own body too. And then help arrived, and you know, I'm assuming that it wasn't really explained after this point, but I'm assuming that, you know, he then joined the Hashira, started training, and you know, and he forgot all those memories and stuff, but obviously he's now recovered them, and then he kicks the shit out of Gyoko. So I'll put a picture up on screen right now. This picture right here is my favourite picture in this whole volume. This is the scene where Moichiro cuts off Gyoko's head. That scene was great. He was so effortless, so insulting, so patronising, and I love it, you know. Moichiro is definitely my favourite character in Demon Slayer so far. I like Inosuke a lot as well, but I think Moichiro is definitely my favourite character. We also see Gyoko's true form, this sort of like snake lizard thing. Pretty cool, pretty interesting, but you know, I'm not really over the moon by it. I just wanted to sort of mention it. And you know, we see his abilities a little bit. He can travel between the vases, and he has all these like killer needle fish and all that shit. But if I'm honest, it was very weird, very uninteresting, and it sort of bored me a little bit. I wasn't a big fan of Gyoko. I think he was a bit uninteresting for a upper rank demon, but Moichiro was great for this whole thing. And then he then begins to start frothing at the mouth and basically passes out, and you know, Kotetsu, you know, just sort of jumps to his rescue to try and help him. And then I believe we cut back to the fight with Tanjiro against Hantengu, and Hantengu has used his new ability where he has these sort of wood tree dragon things are attacking everyone, and they're about to die basically. But then Kanroji, the love Hashira, she appears and begins to engage in combat with Hantengu. She rescues Tanjiro, Genya, and Nezuko, and she like I just said, she begins to fight Hantengu, and you know, it's a pretty cool scene, but we don't really get to see too much of it. I'm hoping we'll get to see more in the next volume, but I haven't started that yet. Also about Genya, I previously stated in a past video that he's a demon. Found out in this volume he's not a demon, he just possesses a unique ability where if he eats demon flesh, he temporarily gains the abilities of a demon. And you know, the stronger the demon is when he eats their flesh, you know, the stronger his boost is, I guess you could say. So he's not a demon, he just can't use breathing and doesn't really possess any special abilities. Apart from that, he's the only one in the Demon Slayer Corps with that ability to sort of eat demon flesh and gain temporary demon powers. But yeah, pretty cool. I just wanted to clear up that, you know, stated in the previous video that he's a demon, turns out he's not. You can just temporarily gain demon abilities by eating demon flesh. So that being said, you know, I'm not a big fan of Genya, so don't really care. And yeah, we end off with Kanroji engaging in combat with Hantengu, and Tanjiro, Nezuko, and Genya are obviously, you know, they're trying to attack and chase down the actual main body of Hantengu and cut off his head, because obviously, even if Kanroji defeats the demon of hatred, it's not the main body, so he won't actually die, you know, even if she cuts off his head. On the topic of Kanroji though, her sword is pretty cool, you know, it's very thin, it's like a ribbon, and it's even stated in the manga that if anyone else tried to use it, you know, it would cut them. It was made and specially designed for her and only her to use. We also see a flashback of her past. Her muscle density is, I believe, eight times that of a normal person, I believe was the exact quote. So, you know, she was always like picked on when she was younger. She was like, people were like, you know, your hair's, you know, a weird colour, you're too strong for a woman, like nobody except an animal would marry you, etc, etc. So as she grows up, you know, she dyes her hair, she pretends to be weak, sort of get people to like her, you know, she hides who she is, she pretends to be someone and something she's not, because she wants people to stop judging her, which is very sad. But obviously, you know, we find out then that when she joins the Hashira, she finally feels that, you know, she can be herself, and her strength is something that's admired, not something that's, you know, sort of made fun of, which, you know, pretty cool, pretty good for her. I think Kanroji is a pretty cool character so far. I mean, I'm not totally in love with her. I think her character could be a little bit better, but she's pretty good looking and she's a pretty cool character. But Moichiro is by far my favourite character so far. And like I said earlier, you know, we see the mark that's on Tanjiro's face and the samurai's face, you know, this sort of mark that appears on descendants of sun breathing. It appears on Moichiro's face as well, which is obviously in the thumbnail of this video. So you know, he's clearly very similar to Tanjiro and, you know, sun breathing and all that. So I'm looking forward to finding out more about that and what it really is, what sun breathing is, what it can do, how it originated, etc., etc., and how, you know, Tanjiro and Muichiro and that samurai are all sort of connected, because they must be, because they've all got the same sort of, you know, birthmark. I don't know if they're birthmarks. I don't really know what they actually are, but you get what I mean. The sort of red marks that appear on their faces, you know, they're clearly all connected, and I'm looking forward to finding out more about it. I could talk a little bit more about Gyoko's abilities. You know, he's an artist. He turns people into vases and pieces of art. You know, he kills loads of humans. He thinks humans are sort of dull and worthless and aren't really worth anything. So he thinks that by turning them into a piece of art, he's almost doing them a favor. He's like, you know, you're alive, you're living, but you're worthless. You're worth a lot more dead. You know, if I turn you into a piece of art, you're worth a lot more dead than you are alive. You know, humans compared to demons are nothing alike. Demons are great, humans are worthless. You go old, you die, you get weak. We don't, we're great. You get what I mean? That's basically Gyoko. Keep your eye out for the review on volume 15, but obviously I haven't read it yet. But besides that, I hope you all enjoyed this video. If you did, please leave a like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you all in the next one. This is Toshi, signing out.